try to do is the goal is to raise the conscious and awareness of Fort Monroe, and we've always wondered how would we do that, what we do, and quite frankly, the effort that Phyllis put forward, working with the 2019 team, they had money. Phyllis will tell you, and we were able. And I would have her give us an overview of just what the media impact was. So Phyllis, thank you.
Yeah, I should be the person with the most, the sexiest graphics, but because I just got off a plane about midnight, I didn't put anything together, so you have to listen to my voice. In your packets, you saw the summary report from American Evolution, who led our media efforts for the commemoration weekend. No one had any expectation that we would get to 5.2 billion, with a B, impressions, which is huge for a site like Fort Monroe, huge. Translating that into reach, reach is the unique people that would have seen these many multitudes of stories and videos and radio broadcasts. That translates to 470 million people. I mean, that's larger than the population of the United States. So this was not just a local story. And thank you, Lisa, for all the local coverage that the Daily Press provided. I have to shout out to Lisa because she and her colleagues contributed over 160 stories from January until the commemoration. I mean, that's huge. And if you're in tourism, you know the best form of advertising is friends and family. So if your local backyard is informed and aware, I can't do any better than that. I can't buy media that will do any better than friends and family. So thanks Daily Press, thanks local media, TV stations, radio stations that help get the word out locally, to have those 5,000 people show up over the 2-day weekend or 3-day weekend. We had close to 100 journalists here on site, and they, again, weren't just folks in the backyard. We had journalists from Turkey, we had journalists from Japan, we had journalists from France, UK. I mean, people from around the world heard our story. To cap it off, I think, to have the New York Times embrace the story, and while they didn't cover the commemoration as well as some of us would have liked to be the New York Times, but to embrace the story of 1619 the way they did, you can't buy that either. And that story and their efforts are going to continue for years to come. Same thing with USA Today. That effort that they put in going to Angola, traveling with the Tucker family of descendants. Who would have thought when we started this initiative 5 years ago that we'd get this sort of outreach, this sort of commitment to our story. So I'm very grateful to a number of people that I'd like to take a few moments to thank. From American Evolution, Yuri Mulligan, who's their Associate Director of Marketing, a godsend. Her boss, Cindy Gray, their marketing associates, Jill Samuelson, and their, I can't think of Amy's title, but Amy Ritchie, they were tremendous throughout all of this. The Hampton CVB, thank Bruce, please thank Mary Fugere, Elizabeth Sievers, who's had another opportunity come along, Leslie Baker, and Robin McCormick. They all worked throughout the weekend. Just, again, can't thank them enough. From the Park Service, part of the Incident Command Team, we had Jason Marks from Gettysburg, Carrie Pearson from New Bedford, and Stephanie Lowe from the headquarters be a part of this. And then the PR firm that really took on the lead was Spend Partners, Robin Crawford, Katie Franklin, Martha Cerner, Elizabeth Bennett, and there's somebody else there too. I knew I shouldn't thank people because you always forget somebody. But anyway, and then of course Delcino, Miles, and Petito Bats with the Miles Agency that support us on a regular basis. We want to thank them so much as well. I'll promise I'll do a real good compilation one day, but it's going to be a while because it's thousands of stories and thousands of videos that are out there for us to absorb and to treasure forever. So, any questions?
Can I have one?
Sure.
Will there be some way to, and is it appropriate to do so, to archive that plethora of stories?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. How do we do that? And I need to talk to Robin, because that needs to be a part of, to me, the history of Fort Monroe. And yeah, to me, that's a must do. And what those elements entail, we've got to sit down as a group and figure that out. But yes, get Phyllis's vote to somehow archive all this, not just the media elements, but some of the other components that went into putting this together. And then obviously, this is the 400th, so it's a milestone year.
I'll just add, I get a clipping service of all media coverage of anything to do with the National Park System. And I've read it consistently for the last 30 years. And I've never seen as much coverage of one place
Right.
in the National Park System as you had for this commemorative weekend.
Yeah, and that's what the three folks from the IPS said as well. This just blew them away, far and wide. Yeah, this was great.
Phyllis,
Thank you.
how you use these stories as well to archive human interest stories for how people have connected the Fort Monroe story to their own story,
Right.
To their own communities. There were a lot of families here. There were a lot of people here who saw this as a personal quest, as well as a quest that supported.
That's what was so, the feedback I got from reporters, they had never ever seen such, I had a reporter in Philadelphia, I think Robin talked to her, that out of the blue, a family discovered that they had connections to be one of the 20 and odd as well. We think of the Tucker family here. There were folks, again, far and wide, that came because they wanted to see this space where their ancestors, so regardless of whether they knew they were one of the 20, this was such a pilgrimage for so many people. Richard and Josie and I just had a conversation about, how we're going to get the word out about people, allowing people to share their stories. And we have the space on our website, but we haven't done a great job of putting that out there. So we're going to work on some strategies to do that.
So, I was involved in the Flight 93 National Memorial, and one of the things that they did was an oral history program. They did the oral histories in the way that you guys know oral histories are supposed to be done, and got over 600 oral histories from everything from family to FBI agents. I mean, the whole plethora. And it strikes me. I realize that there's money involved, and in that case, the Friends Group, aka the foundation here, did a fair amount of support for those stories. But it strikes me that, as I said in many of the meetings up there, what if we had the oral histories of the people around Lexington and Concord? What if we had those so that people like you guys could go back and research them, or you or the researchers in the Case-Mate Museum? So if there's any, from my point of view, if there's any opportunity to create a real, honest-to-God, professionally done oral history program that captures much of what the things that you were just talking about, I would urge that to be something that we all consider. And while I'm talking, I'd just like to say that to all of you, thank you. All of your staffs, thank you. And of course, there's a whole bunch of unmentioned people that, that aren't directly involved, like Joan Baker, and Jessica, and Rachel, and, people I don't know who they are, the guy that sits up there outside of Glenn's office on the computer all day long. They were all impacted too.
Yep.
So I think that, on behalf of all of us here, we'd like to thank all of you, your contractors, your volunteers. I'm sorry that I had a family wellness thing. I was not able to come, but nonetheless, seems to be our responsibility is to help you take this incredible, seminal weekend you all made happen and use that as the basis for the future of Fort Monroe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, you're right. This is the bar's been set pretty high, and we can only go up from here. So thank you for the
Tiring as
support.
that may be some days.
Yeah. Thanks.
And so, Mr. Chairman, I